It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy, and in today's episode we're going to be making gamberi alla marinara, which is shrimp in marinara sauce. We're going to be making homemade pasta on the food processor, my new toy, and also I got the new toy for my KitchenAid. Ta-da! This has the 3-roller set. I used to have the 2-roller set, but that's still in storage, so I don't know where that is. But we're going to be making the pasta. Now you can make white pasta, you can make spinach pasta, we can make tomato basil pasta, but today we're going to be making gluten-free pasta. And it's very simple to make. This is so easy. Just easy. So in your food processor, I don't need the blade. Ouch! Don't need the shredder blade. I got the cutter blade in the bottom. For this, now, I'm gonna make this recipe in half. So you can double this recipe to make 6 servings. I'm only gonna make 3. I don't need to make a whole lot. It's just myself. So I'm gonna need 1.5 cups of gluten-free flour, 2 eggs, and like I always say, try to have all your ingredients at room temperature. I had my eggs sitting in a bowl of warm water just so they should come up to temp. It just makes everything cook easier and bake easier. So we're going to take and mix this up, beating up these eggs. Half teaspoon of salt. Goes the salt. Always goes the salt. And along with a half teaspoon of olive oil. Now this is all going right in to my processor, and we can just mix this up. Now I can't give you a measurement on the water. It's as needed until we get ball shape with our dough. There we go, starting to ball. Approximately 1/4 cup maybe. And now with the normal flour, even with the gluten flour, when you dump this out, you want to take and knead it up just to make sure you get all your crummy crumbs all together. So it's all one big solid mass. Come on, my little crumbs. Oh, I'm gonna call it crumbs. Ah. Said the word crumbs and she'd be right there on my heels. Ooh, waiting for samples. Because she knew what crumbs were. Samples for her, that's what crumbs were. Anyway, so there we got a nice, big, firm. Now if this was not all-purpose flour, smooth and elastic. That's how you knead it out until it becomes smooth and elastic. This is gluten-free. You don't have to worry about that too much. But this does get to be kind of smooth and elastic, kind of, sort of. That's all fine and dandy. Now, I'm going to cut this into 3 parts because the normal recipe is 6, so we only need to cut this into 3. Go. And these pieces now, Lydia tells me to cover it with a towel, but you don't want these to dry out. That's the principle. Now we can make our pasta. You want a little bit of flour on the surface here. Put a little pile there in case I need it as I go. Because as you go, you want to flour your noodles so you don't get them all stuck together. Now we're going to take and put this on a number 2 setting. 1 is your widest, so you don't start on 1. You start out on 2. Work your way up to the 8. And then we'll turn this on. Hopefully this will work. It's rolling, but come on. All right, that ain't gonna work. The rollers aren't gonna take and roll out the gluten-free pasta. It just crumbles apart and breaks apart. It's not gonna work. But I'm not gonna throw away the dough because we're still gonna do gluten-free, but we're gonna turn it into gnocchi. And gnocchi is real fun. See, these are my little gnocchis. See? You know, indentation in the back. And the reason for the indentations, so that holds the sauce. So what we'll do is take your dough. Now you can do this on regular dough too. But you want to roll this into about a 1/2 inch rope. And then, there we go. It's rolling now. Cut into 1/2 inch pieces. And using a fork, let me try to zoom in here. Okay, using a fork, we got our little gnocchis. Take your thumb and put it in on one side and then press into the tines of the fork and roll down. That way you'll get, oh, that one I went too far. There we go. You get the indentations on one side and then you get your thumbprint on the other. So you just press down, and if you're using regular flour, just take and roll these into your flour. Dust them with a little flour as you roll so that they don't stick together. And that's it for making gnocchi. And gnocchi is potato starch. So since I have potato starch in the gluten-free flour, this should work out just fine, hopefully. Keep fingers crossed. And I'll just continue on doing this until I get my pasta all done. And let's see how quick that goes. Once you start doing it and getting the routine down, you can just whip right through those real easily. So let me just finish this off and then we'll be right back. Okay, now we got our gnocchis all rolled up. See? We got this the little gnocchi. They have the little ridges on the side from the tines of the fork, and then your thumbprints in the bottom. So you just take it and you just take your thumb and you just go down, push them down through the tine towards the bottom. Not all the way through, just, you know, roughly. Now, as you're making these too, you want to dust them with the flour so that they all don't stick. And then we can just put these right into our boiling water. And then we'll let these cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, now the gnocchis turned out really nice. Nice and firm, which is what we want. And now I'm going to do the shrimp sauce, the marinara sauce. And I'm going to do the shrimp, which I happen to get at Hack & Mueller's. So on a medium high heat, I'll put in, let's see, I'm on 3, 6, put in about a tablespoon of oil, along with about 3 tablespoons of garlic. Now you want to be a little careful with this. We don't want to brown it too bad. Take that off the heat. I just want to open up the flavor of the garlic, so we just want to heat this up. Might have been a little too hot, but it's okay. Just take that off the heat. And I'll just turn that down. We're not stir frying, so we just want to heat that up. I can turn that down just a titch, more of a medium. There we go. But the heat is going to open up that garlic and get all the flavors. And then we can add our shrimp. Now like I said, I got the giant prawns here. Well, I'm going to take off the tails. And I'm going to put in about 6 of these, because they're so huge. If you're doing like medium-sized shrimp, probably want like about 2.5 to 3 pounds. And these are already deveined for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But cut off the top ridge and pull out the black vein. And just fry them on one side for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then flip them over and do it for another minute or so. It's important not to overcook your shrimp, because then they get all rubbery and tough. Seafood only takes about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes at the most. You can tell when they're done when they start turning pink. And we'll just wait for that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, these are done. I'm just going to take my shrimp out. And now we can add 2 more tablespoons of olive oil. And along with a large can of plum whole tomatoes. About a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. And you can just kind of crush these up with your spoon a little bit, or get in there with your hands. But I'm not doing my hands because they're getting hot. I can just crush these down. Or even a potato masher would work too. And what we're going to do is bring this sauce to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, then we'll turn it down and let it simmer for 10 minutes so it thickens slightly. Okay, this is coming to a boil. And we'll turn that down to a lively simmer. So like a medium-low. And we'll let that simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, that's simmering. Now I'm going to take, about 6 to 8 fresh basil leaves. And just rough chop these up. Don't need some mince, we got little chunks. And then like about a tablespoon or so of fresh Italian parsley. That's the flat leaf, not the curly. And we'll just rough chop this up. Okay, now I'm going to take and put my shrimp in. Ooh. I didn't sneak one. And along with our fresh parsley and our fresh basil. And give that a stir. And just let that simmer again for about a minute, just so that the shrimp reheat up. And then we can take and dish this up. And then we can just add our gnocchi to that. And Give that a big stir. And let that simmer along with the shrimp for a minute, just so everything heats up. And then we can just take and serve this up in a bowl rather than a plate, because you want to have all that sauce. And then this is our lovely gamberi alla marinara, which is our shrimp in a marinara sauce with our own homemade gnocchi. So it's gnocchi gamberi alla marinara. Well, I hope you enjoyed this simple recipe. I'm sorry it didn't work out in the roller, but that was the gluten-free dough. If I use the regular flour and do the recipe again, we can do fettuccine. So we hope you enjoy this. Okay, well, the gnocchi was wonderful with the big shrimps in it. Oh God, was that good. Too bad the machine didn't work out because of the gluten-free. That was because of the dough. We can do another recipe another time. I just have to get regular all-purpose flour to use in the rollers on the machine, which is going to be exciting because we can do spaghetti and fettuccine and lasagna and raviolis, and so we'll save that for another episode. But for now, for the second part of this one, we're going to take and do a banana bundt cake. I got right manners that need to be used up. And we just did banana bread not too long ago. So I thought we'll do a banana cake. So for this one we need 2.5 cups of soft as silk cake flour. And we're going to take and sift this, because I don't believe this comes pre-sifted, because the cake flour is rather cakey from sitting in that box. So I'm just going to sift this in. Then we can put that into our mixing bowl. And with this, little crumbs there. Then with this we also need 1 2/3 cup of sugar. We need a teaspoon and a quarter of baking soda. And remember again, scoop to stir that up if you don't bake at all that often, because the top part of your soda and baking powder is going to be inactive if it's just sitting on the shelf there for months on end. You know what I mean? If you don't bake that often. I usually do enough baking where I don't have to worry about that, but sometimes, you know, if it's been a while, just stir it up and get that top mixture mixed in with everything in the bottom of the can. Okay, and then we need a teaspoon of kosher salt. Got that salt. I'm just gonna take my wire whisk and mix these all together, just so that they can incorporate easier into the cake, so they don't get stuck in one spot, loving on one side, you know what I mean? I just hate that when we were kids, and Mom would make cookies or something, and right into a chunk of soda or a chunk of powder. Oh, yes. It's like, Ma, you didn't make these right. I think that's why she said, well, make it yourself then. So I did. Okay, so we got that now. Now we're going to be needing a 2/3 cup of Crisco, 2/3 cup buttermilk, and I'm just going to put in half of that for right now, along with 3 bananas. You can tell they're ripe. They're ripe all right. Oh, I remember Callie. Oh my Lord. She loved bananas. Oh, she would just go crazy over bananas. I never see a dog eat bananas. Callie, you part monkey or what? Oh, she just go crazy over eating nanners. She loved her nanners. Okay, now we'll put this on low. And just mix this up until it's well moistened. And then we'll add the other half of the milk and mix this up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, and we can put in the other half. And along with that, 2 eggs. moistened, but I want to scrape down the sides of the bowl here. Because since we're doing a cake from scratch, very important to scrape your bowl and make sure you get that bottom kick underneath there in the bottom of the bowl. Because we're doing it from scratch, you want to make sure you scrape the bowl because the ingredients will stick to the sides of the bowl and you're not going to get them all mixed into your batter if you don't scrape. There we go. And we don't have to take and mix this completely, boom, boom, boom. Because it's cake, we don't want to activate the gluten now. We have gluten in cake flour because it's made out of wheat flour. Oh, piece of banana skin. And we'll scrape that down. And pan. I always wipe out a pan. When they sit around, they will collect grease in the air. That does collect on your pans too. Just wipe them out if they're dry. And I always spray them, even though they're Teflon coated, I still spray. It's not gonna hurt it. It's gonna be better for it. I'm gonna make sure it comes out. Okay. And then we'll just pour, oh, I was gonna do, I almost forgot. I wanted to do nuts. You can call for walnuts, but I'm out of walnuts, so I'm gonna substitute peanuts. And that's gonna be a good substitution because it's banana nut, you know, so rather than having the bigger chunks of walnuts, I want to do the peanuts just to give it a different flavor, different taste, and I know this is going to be a great combination. And the chunks are going to be smaller than walnuts. And when you get dental work like I do, you worry about these things. Remember the pulp and don't powderize it. We don't want peanut butter. There, so we have it like a nut topping like you have on top of donuts and Bismarcks and stuff like that. So that's a cup of peanuts. And then I can just take and fold these in. We don't need to activate the gluten, turn on the machine. Scraping bowls as you go. Double duty, there we go. And then pour this into our bundt pan. Now bundt pans take approximately 45 minutes to bake. I don't care what recipe you use, they all turn out to be approximately 45 minutes because of the shape of the pan, the heat's around, and that's what it does. That's what it takes. And I've done this so many years, I found from trial and error, that's what they always end up turning out to be. So I'll come across some old-fashioned recipes or whatever for cake, and they'll say for bundt cake, whatever, hour and a half. I'm like, heck, no way, these are gonna be done I don't wanna burn the cake. And sure enough, 45 minutes, they're done. If I had kept baked them longer according to recipes, they'd have been burnt. 45 minutes, or toothpick test. Simple enough. And we'll set this down, get out any air bubbles, and it helps us smooth it out so it's even. So 350, 45 minutes. And then we'll be back with our banana nut bundt cake. Alrighty, so this is our banana nut pie, or cake, I mean. I'm watching the British Bake Show, they just did pies. And so this is our bundt cake, banana nut cake. Now we can just take and make a frosting for it. And we're just gonna be making a cream cheese frosting. That's traditional with banana nut cake. You can do, I've heard of vanilla and I've heard of a lemon to go with it, which would be nice. But I want to take and do the cream cheese with banana. I like that idea. So I have 3 ounces of softened cream cheese along with a 1/4 cup of butter. And we'll take and mix these up. Had them sitting at this hot heat. It didn't take long for them to reach room temperature, believe me. And with the cream cheese frosting, we do 2 cups of powdered sugar. And I'll scrape this on the inside of the bag. That just makes it so much easier for cleanup. You don't get everything all over the place. And then we can do, what is it at? It's a teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm going to use a teaspoon of almond flavor. I like putting almond flavoring when possible instead of vanilla. When possible, I mean that's a personal preference. You can all do whatever you want to. But I like doing the almond because it makes the frosting whiter. It stays clear. Unless you have clear vanilla, which they do make, the vanilla will take and makes your white frosting a little bit on the beige side. And I like the Scandinavian heritage of myself by putting in the almond. It always gives that flavor, just that tits of a Scandinavian bakery flavor. And do a little sample. Callie was always, next to me for sampling. That tastes good. Great. Holding up its shape, which is kind of hard in this heat. In humidity, it's just, everything wants to just melt down. So, let me be right back. And then I'll just take with a large star tube, and I can take and just pipe this onto the cake. I'm going to take and star this out tube it into stars. So that has a little attractive look to it. And hopefully without this humidity, it doesn't melt apart on me. And then I can take and put this in the refrigerator so that it chills and sets up. There we go. And here's our Banana Nut Bundt Cake. I had a little carrot cake sprinkle toppings that I had sprinkled over the top. Ooh, cut in this one, Kelly Ellis. Ooh. So it didn't work out with the gluten-free dough into the machine. That's the first time I tried that myself. I've never tried the gluten-free dough in the machine before. So it didn't work out. But we took and made up with our mistakes. We didn't get rid of the dough. We took and made the gnocchi, which turned out just fabulous. And I've always wanted to do an episode on gnocchi anyway. So from the Northwoods Cooking Show, I want to say, eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine.